Okay, I am going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning to our guests on the West Coast. Thank you for joining us today to discuss the Emergency Connectivity Fund, a $7.17 billion program that will help schools and libraries provide the tools and services their communities need for remote learning during the COVID-19 emergency period. I'm Sayuri Rajapaksa, Deputy Chief of the Federal Communications Commission's Office of Native Affairs and Policy. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Before we get started, I'd like to make a series of quick introductions. First, we're joined by Barbara Esbin, Deputy Chief in the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau, of which ONAP is a part. I think she just put her video on. Next, I want to introduce Derek Goetson and Lloyd Collier, ONAP's newest legal advisors. Derek has been running point on our work on this program and will be assisting me today. And I'd also like to mention Carolyn Conyers, our program advisor. We in ONAP are joined by our colleagues from the Commission's Wireline Competition Bureau. We are also joined by the Universal Service Administrative Company, or USAC, which administers both the Commission's Universal Service Fund and the Emergency Connectivity Fund. These colleagues will be taking the lead in discussing this important new program and its application process. From WCB, we have with us Sue McNeil, Associate Bureau Chief, Molly O'Connor, Attorney Advisor, Matt Uvas, Legal Intern. From USAC, we have with us Cranel Alfred, Tribal Liaison, Shared Services, Jamie Gustafson, Director of Outreach, Shared Services, Emily Castle, Director of Product Management and Reporting and Analytics, E-Rate, Jeremy Matkovich, Manager of Program Management, E-Rate and ECF Form Processing. Today's event will have three parts. First, Molly O'Connor from the Commission's Wireline Competition Bureau will provide an overview of the Emergency Connectivity Fund. Once Molly has finished that overview, Emily Castle from USAC will review the application process. Once both of our speakers have completed their presentations, we will take questions about the program and the application process. As to logistics, you'll be able to ask questions and provide comments directly, either orally or in writing through the chat function. If you're doing the latter, please make them visible to everyone. Please also use the raise hand function in WebEx to be recognized to speak. We will call on you to pose your question or comment, and we hope for a lively discussion today that will help us learn from you. But having said that, I must mention that this event will be recorded and posted for further viewing. We will make a link available along with any slides. Now, I'm going to turn things over to Molly to really get us started. Molly?
Thank you so much, Sayuri. Let me just pull up my presentation. Okay, I think we're good to go. Hi, everyone. As Sayuri mentioned, my name is Molly O'Connor. I'm an attorney advisor for the Telecommunications Access Policy Division of the Wireline Competition Bureau at the FCC. And typically I work on the E-Rate program, which is the Universal Service Fund program dedicated to schools and libraries. But this year I've been working on the Emergency Connectivity Fund. So I am here to provide a brief overview of the Emergency Connectivity Fund program and the rules that were adopted for the program. So first, to just start with a brief background of how the program came to be. So in order to help schools and libraries provide connected devices and broadband connectivity to students, school staff, and library patrons during the coronavirus pandemic, Congress established the $7.171 billion Emergency Connectivity Fund as part of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The American Rescue Plan directed the Commission to promulgate rules within 60 days of its enactment, which was in March of this year, for the distribution of funding from the Emergency Connectivity Fund to eligible schools and libraries for the purchase of eligible equipment, services, or both for use by students, school staff, and library patrons at locations that include locations other than a school or library. I typically just stop here to flag this last line because I think it's really important to understanding the purpose of this program. Um, Specifically, I said for use by students, school staff, and library patrons at locations that include locations other than a school or library. Historically, the E-rate program, which as I mentioned is the Universal Service Fund program for schools and libraries, is dedicated to providing funding for on-campus services for schools and libraries. So this program was specifically designed to primarily fund off-campus services, which I will discuss more later. But shortly after the American Rescue Plan Act was enacted, the Commission released a public notice in which we sought comment on how best to implement the Emergency Connectivity Fund. We received several hundred comments, reply comments, and ex parte communications from a diverse array of stakeholders, which included many tribal entities, which we really appreciated your input. Thank you very much. School districts, libraries, states and city governmental entities, broadband and equipment providers, public interest groups, and trade groups. And exactly 60 days after the enactment of the American Rescue Plan Act, on May 10th, the Commission adopted the report and order in which we established the rules to open an application filing window that would allow eligible schools and libraries to first seek funding for purchases of eligible equipment and services during the upcoming school year to meet the needs of students, school staff, and library patrons who would otherwise lack access to the basic educational opportunities and library services. To provide a brief overview of who can apply for the Emergency Connectivity Fund, eligible schools and libraries include all the schools, libraries, and consortium of schools and libraries that are eligible for support under the E-rate program. And under the E-rate program, schools and libraries must meet, or schools must meet the definition of elementary and secondary schools as defined in the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, or the ESEA. And under the ESEA, states are the ones who define elementary and secondary schools, so it does vary by state. As far as schools who are not eligible, Section 254 of the Communications Act specifies that for-profit schools and schools with an endowment of $50 million or more will not be eligible for funding under the Emergency Connectivity Fund. As for libraries, libraries that are eligible for support under the Library Services and Technology Act, or the LSTA, will be eligible under the Emergency Connectivity Fund. One thing to note is that the order does clarify that tribal libraries are eligible for support under LSTA and are therefore eligible for Emergency Connectivity Fund program support. Just to note, this is a departure from the E-rate program's definition, so this is something we wanted to make clear. And schools and libraries do not need to be participants in the E-rate program to participate in the Emergency Connectivity Fund. Eligibility of new applicants will be verified during the application review process, which I think our colleagues with the USAC will go over a little bit more later. The American Rescue Plan did define which equipment and services will be eligible. So eligible equipment includes connected devices, Wi-Fi hotspots, modems, routers, and devices that combine a modem and a router. Connected devices is defined as laptop and tablet computers, and in the order we make clear that desktop computers and smartphones will not be eligible for funding under the Emergency Connectivity Fund. Additionally, air cards will be eligible as wireless modems. As far as services, eligible services include commercially available fixed or mobile broadband internet access services. Dark fiber will not be eligible for support, nor will construction of broadband networks and customer premises equipment for receiving datacasting services. However, there is an exception in the limited case where there is no commercially available internet access service that's sufficient for students, school staff, and library patrons to engage in remote learning. And as I mentioned, only where there is no commercially available internet access service option will applicants be able to seek support for construction or customer premises equipment for receiving datacasting services. So they will be required to show a few things. For future construction, applicants seeking support will be required to show that the construction is completed and services have been provided within 1 year of receiving a funding commitment decision. They will also be required to define the geographic area that will be served and assess the best estimate of the estimated number of students and school staff or library patrons that they will be serving. Additionally, they will be required to provide clear evidence demonstrating how they determined that an existing fixed or mobile broadband network was or is not available. And this includes by seeking service from existing providers serving the area prior to constructing that network. Additionally, they will be required to meet the certification, which is that they certify that they sought such service and providers were unable or unwilling to provide services sufficient to meet the remote learning needs of students, school staff, or library patrons. As for networks that have already been constructed, applicants do not have to show that they sought service, but they will be required to provide clear evidence that there were no commercially available internet access service options. Just a little bit of background of what datacasting is. It is a technology that converts a portion of a broadcast signal to offer a one-way transmission of encrypted IP data. This can be used by schools to provide school-created content that would run from schools to students' devices that are being used off campus in places where there might not be broadband internet access options. As far as where the eligible equipment and services can be used, the order permits eligible entities to seek support to purchase equipment and services for use at any off-campus locations where students, school staff, and library patrons are engaged in remote learning. So this is including, but not limited to, a student, school staff, or library patron's home. However, there is a limitation that schools and libraries will not be able to request support for equipment and services that they intend to use solely on campus. Again, the E-rate program is dedicated to funding on-campus service. So in order to make sure that we're maximizing the limited funding in the Emergency Connectivity Fund, we are focusing this funding on primarily on off-campus services. Schools and libraries may use the support to purchase Wi-Fi hotspots for school buses and bookmobiles in order to provide off-campus connectivity to students, school staff, and library patrons. Additionally, the order adopted certain per location and per user restrictions. Specifically, eligible schools and libraries will not be able to request support for more than one fixed broadband internet access connection per location and one connected device and one Wi-Fi hotspot per student, school staff, or library patron. As far as eligible uses, eligible equipment and services must be used primarily for educational purposes. This is the same definition as used in the E-rate program. Educational purposes are defined as, in the case of a school, activities that are integral, immediate, and proximate to the education of students. And in the case of a library, this is defined as activities that are integral, immediate, and proximate to the provision of library services to library patrons. Additionally, for school staff, as I mentioned, this is for eligible services and equipment to be provided to students, school staff, and library patrons. So for school staff, in the case of schools, the provision of eligible equipment and services for school staff is limited to school staff who are providing educational services during the relevant time periods. And it must be school staff who would otherwise lack access to the connected devices or broadband connections that are sufficient to facilitate remote learning during the pandemic. In other words, this includes teachers and other paraprofessionals who are providing educational services. Restricting access, so schools and libraries will be required to restrict access to connected devices. They will be required to restrict access to the laptops and tablets to students, school staff, and library patrons who have the appropriate credentials. Although they do not similarly impose any requirement on other eligible equipment and services, schools and libraries are encouraged to similarly restrict access to the use of other eligible equipment and services. Additionally, the order sets forth a number of maximum support amounts. These are the reasonable support amounts for certain eligible equipment and services. Applicants will only be able to seek funding for up to $400 for each connected device, so each laptop and each tablet. Additionally, applicants may seek funding for up to $250 for each Wi-Fi hotspot. The order does not necessarily provide maximum amounts for the other eligible equipment and services. However, it does provide a framework for determining the reasonable cost for other eligible equipment and services and directs USAC to carefully review the requests with guidance from the Wireline Competition Bureau to assess the reasonability of such requests. And just to note, that's the standard cost of eligible services and equipment must be reasonable. I'm just going to briefly run over the application and invoicing process, as you'll learn more shortly, but the order does leverage the processes and forms used in the E-rate program. Uh, Many schools and libraries do participate in the E-rate program, so they are familiar with the processes and forms. So in order to get this funding out more quickly and reduce some of the administrative burden on schools and libraries, it will be using those similar processes and forms as used in the E-rate program. On June 29th, 2021, USAC did open the initial 45-day application filing window. This will be closed on August 13th, 2021. And during this initial application filing window, schools and libraries will be able to request funding for eligible equipment and services to be received between July 1st, 2021 and June 30th, 2022, or the upcoming school year, for use by students, school staff, or library patrons who would otherwise lack access to devices or connectivity sufficient to meet their remote learning needs. So we are seeking to gear this towards people with unmet needs. And to ensure that that happens, schools will be required to certify that they are only seeking support for eligible equipment provided to students and school staff who would otherwise lack access to connected devices or services sufficient to engage in remote learning. As for libraries, on a going forward basis, libraries will be required to provide patrons with a copy of an eligible use policy that explains that the equipment or service is intended for library patrons who do not otherwise have access to equipment or services sufficient to meet the patron's educational needs. Libraries will also be required to certify that they are only seeking support for eligible equipment and/or services provided to library patrons who have signed and returned a statement that says they would otherwise lack such access. Additionally, applicants will be required to certify compliance with all applicable local, state, and tribal procurement requirements. This is another departure from the E-rate program, which requires competitive bidding. The Emergency Connectivity Fund program will not require competitive bidding and instead just must meet these certification requirements. In the event that there is additional funding left over after the initial funding window, filing window closes, so if demand during this first funding application filing window does not exceed available funds, the Commission will open a second funding window to allow schools and libraries to seek funding for eligible equipment and services that they previously purchased to address the needs of students, school staff, and library patrons who would have otherwise lacked such access to these services during the pandemic. However, if demand for prospective support in the first window appears to be far short of meeting current needs, then the Commission can first consider opening a second prospective window for future funds, for future eligible equipment and services before they consider opening an application filing window to fund previously purchased eligible equipment and services. As far as prioritization goes, if demand exceeds available funds during a filing window, requests will be prioritized based on an applicant's E-rate discount rates, and that will be with a 5% increase provided to rural schools and libraries. The order also adopts a streamlined invoicing process for applicants and service providers who agree to invoice on behalf of applicants, and this also leverages the E-rate forms. Additionally, in order to help schools and libraries that may not have the funds to cover the upfront costs, the program provides a way for applicants to submit requests for reimbursement before they have paid for the contracted equipment and services. However, they will be required to pay their service providers within 30 days of receiving support. Another thing to note is that applicants and service providers who agree to invoice on behalf of an applicant will be required to register with SAM.gov. This is the Systems for Award Management, in order to submit reimbursement requests. We have been encouraging applicants and service providers to begin that process if they are not already registered to be able to invoice and receive reimbursement. Just to note, it does not need to be done to file an application, but it will be required for invoicing and reimbursement requests. The Children's Internet Protection Act. So the order finds that the Children's Internet Protection Act, or CIPA, so CIPA requirements apply to the use of a school or library-owned computer if the school or library accepts support for internet access or internet services, or in the case of E-rate, accepts support for internal connections, or network equipment for internet access, internet service, or internal connections. SIPA does not apply to either the use of school or library-owned laptops or tablets or computers purchased through the program if the school or library does not also receive Emergency Connectivity Fund or E-rate support for the above-mentioned services. Additionally, SIPA does not apply to third-party owned devices, so it would not apply to a device owned by a student, school staff, or library patron. And applicants will be required to make certain certifications to their compliance with SIPA. So applicants who have already certified compliance for E-rate support for funding year 2021 will not need to complete additional SIPA compliance certifications on their Emergency Connectivity Fund program application. However, new applicants will be required to certify on their application that either they're compliant with SIPA requirements, they're undertaking actions necessary to comply with SIPA requirements, or if applicable, that SIPA requirements do not apply. And then finally, the order adopts certain procedures in order to safeguard the program and the funding from waste, fraud, and abuse. Some of these measures include requiring that you maintain asset and service inventories, imposing a 10-year document retention requirement, prohibiting gifts. However, there is an exception through June 30th, 2022 for applicants to seek and for service providers to offer things of value that are directly related to meeting pandemic-related remote learning needs. Additionally, I know I've mentioned a few of these. Applicants will be required to make certain certifications to ensure compliance with program rules, including those related to the necessary procurement requirements, preventing duplicative funding, and ensuring equipment and services are being used. The order also establishes an audit plan and sets requirements for the treatment of eligible equipment after the COVID-19 emergency period ends. So that is just a quick summary of the Emergency Connectivity Fund program. I think next I will turn it over to Sayuri and our USAC colleagues.
Thank you so much, Molly. We will turn it over to Emily. Emily, are you able to get started there? While she's doing that, I would like to note that I see a couple of hands raised. We're going to wait until after the second presentation and we open the Q&A session to start taking questions, but please keep those hands up. We will get to you very shortly. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So right now you should be seeing on my screen the Emergency Connectivity Fund website. Before I jump into the application process, I just want to provide a few pieces of information for you. So today I will be showing you the FCC Form 471 application process for the Emergency Connectivity Fund. That form is contained within our ECF portal. I'm going to show you how to log into the portal and then how to submit that application through the portal, as well as a couple of other features once your application has been fully certified and submitted. Before I do that, I just want to explain how you actually get access to the ECF portal to participate in the Emergency Connectivity Fund program. So given the significant overlap with the E-rate program, which is supported through our E-rate Productivity Center, or EPIC, we allowed everybody that has a user account and an entity profile in EPIC automatic access to the ECF portal. So just to make it much easier, you just, as you log in, you have that access there for the ECF portal if you are already participating in E-rate. And as I mentioned, that includes your entity profile information being available within the ECF portal, along with any user accounts associated with your applicant entity profile. I'll show you the login process here in a moment, but it is consolidated under USAC's One Portal, which makes it a little bit easier because you only have one username and one password to remember. Now, if you are not currently an E-rate participant, the way that you can get access to the ECF portal is you can call our Emergency Connectivity Fund Customer Support Center, and they will work with you to create an entity profile. That entity profile will first be created within Epic and immediately automatically migrated over to the ECF portal. They will also work with you to create an account administrator user account. Once the user has signed their terms and conditions within Epic, which is the first screen that you see when you log into Epic, once you've signed those terms and conditions, that user account information will also be migrated very quickly over to the ECF portal so that the next time that you log in, you will be able to access the ECF portal. The account administrator for an applicant entity is able to create new users directly within their entity profile. They should do this within Epic. And again, that same process will occur. The new user account will log into Epic, accept the terms and conditions, and then within about 10 minutes, they will be able to see the ECF portal link on their One Portal dashboard. So now I'm going to show you what that login process looks like. There's a reason I'm showing the website, and that is because it has a sign-in button here on the top. So this will allow you to sign into USAC's One Portal. This sign-in button is also available at the usac.org website. And so I will click on it. And the first thing it's going to do is actually show me, I'm going to see if I can zoom in here a little bit. It's going to show me just some tips on how to log in for the first time. So when you're logging in for the first time, the first thing you need to do is actually set up your password. And you will use the forgot password link that I'll show you here in a moment. That will send you an email to reset your password. And once you click on the link to that email, you can then set up your password and then you'll be able to sign in. So I know how to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And that takes me to the login page. So I want to, if this is my first time and I haven't set up my password, I can simply click on forgot password. That will allow me to enter my username. And once I click this button, I will get an email with a link to reset my password. I already know my password, so I'm going to, go back to my login page. And I'm going to enter my username and password. I'm going to click on the box here to accept these terms and conditions laid out on the screen. And I'm going to click sign in. Now, USAC has implemented multi-factor authentication. So the first part of your authentication is entering the correct password. The second is sending an email and receiving a verification code. So when I click send email, that is going to send an email to my email address with a verification code. Once I enter the passcode and click verify, assuming that that passcode is correct, I will then be sent to the One Portal dashboard. Now I am in, this is my One Portal dashboard. I am in a test environment. So we have a couple of test environments here. And the reason for doing that is because I just don't want to submit a real application in our production environment. So you will see here that I have a link to click on our E-Rate Productivity Center. but I also have a link to click on our Emergency Connectivity Fund portal, and that's the one I'm going to click on to take me to my home page. So this is my home page. This is my dashboard. And the first thing I'm going to see is my organizations. That's going to show me my entity, my applicant entity. And if I click here, I can see my entity profile. But what I really want to show you today, first and foremost, is how to file an application. So you'll see under actions, I have an action here to file an FCT form 471, and that is how I start my application process. So now that I've clicked on that link, I get to the first page of my application, which is my basic information. So we are pre-populating the form with your address information, your build entity number, which is a USAC assigned number for your entity organization, your FCC registration number, and your applicant type. So this applicant is a school district. Next, we're going to ask you to enter an application nickname. So this is a specific but unique nickname that you can assign to sort of identify your application. So unfortunately, I am not very creative, so I'm just going to put the fact that it's a demo here today and the date. We also show your consultant information. So if you do leverage the support of consulting firms, any firms associated with your organization will appear here in this section. This entity does not have any consulting firms. And then the next section is your contact information. So we're asking if you are the main contact person for this application. If I select no, it's going to allow me to search for the correct person. So I can start typing in somebody's name who also is a user with my applicant entity, and I can select them as the main contact person. What I'm going to do, though, is say that I am the main contact person. If you do have any contact information for holiday or summer periods, you can enter that here in this box. And now I'm going to save and continue and go to the next page. You will notice this red discard form. It's on many of the pages of the application. So if you want to just completely start from the beginning and discard the application, you can do so wherever you see this button. But I'm going to save and continue. And now I'm going to see a little bit more information about my entity. So again, I'm seeing my USAC assigned entity number and my name, my total student count, and my urban or rural status. If there are any concerns that you have with the information that is pre-populated regarding your entity, there is a section called the narrative, the FRN narrative field, which I will show you a little bit later, where you can alert USAC of your concerns and any information that you feel needs to be changed. I'm happy with this, so I'm going to save and continue. And then the next page I get to is our survey for unmet student needs. This will only show for independent schools, school districts, or consortia entities that have schools or school districts as members. So the survey asks 4 questions about unmet student needs. The first question is, at the start of the pandemic, how many students in your school or school district lacked access to a connected device, a broadband connection, or both that were sufficient to engage in remote learning? The second question is, during the 2020 to 2021 school year, how many students in your school or school district did you provide a connected device, a broadband connection, or both, so because they would not have otherwise been able to engage in remote learning. The third question is, with the funding that you're requesting from the Emergency Connectivity Fund program, how many students in your school or school district will you provide a connected device, a broadband connection, or both, because otherwise they would not have been able to engage in remote learning? And then the last question is, even after receiving the funding that you are requesting from the Emergency Connectivity Fund program, how many students in your school or school district will still lack access to a connected device, a broadband connection, or both that is sufficient to engage in remote learning? We are asking that you answer all of these questions, and if no students fall into that category, you can put 0, and I'll show you that here in a moment. And we're also asking you to describe the steps that you've taken to collect this data. If you would like, you may upload a document to support your responses, but that is not required. So you'll see if I've not entered any information in this form at this point in time. So if I try and move forward, it is going to not allow me to do so and tell me that I must put a value here. So I'm going to put some values here, and you'll see as I go through and enter values, the errors start to go away. And now that I have entered those values, I'll move on to the next page. So the next page is our funding request landing page. So I haven't created any funding requests. These are the more specific details around the different equipment and services that I am requesting. As I complete each funding request, the details will be available here on this table. So I'm going to create 3 different types of funding requests for you today. The first one I'm going to create is an equipment, is a request for equipment. So I'm going to click Add FRN, which is our abbreviation of funding request number. And again, we want to put a nickname here. I apologize again for my lack of creativity with the nicknames. And then in the service type, I'm going to select equipment. For the FRN contract, this is a one-time purchase. I do not have a contract in place, so I'm just going to select non-contracted. And you'll see we have populated the full 12 months here, and I'm going to leave it as that for our equipment. Moving on to the next page for the funding request. I now want to search my service provider. So it is not required that you obtain your services or equipment from an E-rate participant or from a service provider who already participates in the E-rate program. However, if you do select your services from a service provider that is participating in the E-rate program, we do want to make sure that we capture the correct service provider. So I am going to search for a service provider here. And you'll see that I can search by the actual SPIN, that is the service provider identification number assigned by USAC, which you will know if you're familiar with E-rate, but if not, you can just search by the service provider name, and then we'll present to you all of the service providers that match that name here in the portal. If you can't find that service provider because they don't participate in E-rate, that's okay. You can enter the information manually. I'm going to make it easier for myself and select a service provider that we have in our system. And then the next thing I want to check is my invoicing method. So this is who is going to be submitting the reimbursement forms for this funding request. If I select that myself as an applicant is going to be submitting the reimbursement forms, I can move forward. If I want the service provider to submit the reimbursement forms, you'll see a little text shows up here explaining that I must upload documentation verifying that the service provider has agreed to submit these forms. And you'll see if I try and continue without uploading a document with the service provider demonstrating their agreement, then I can't move forward. So I'm going to select applicant and I'm going to move forward to the next page. Now we get to the FRN narrative that I mentioned earlier. So if I, first of all, I want to use this to provide a brief explanation of the products that I'm requesting. And I can also enter any information regarding the funding request or my entity profile. Additionally, if I would like to, but I'm not required to, I can upload supporting documentation for this funding request, such as a price quote or an invoice or other documentation that you might have. Now I'm going to dive even deeper into the detail about this funding request. So now I want to show the specific items that I will be receiving. So I'm going to click line items. You see it's all contained within this one page. And the first thing I'm going to do is demonstrate that I am requesting some laptops. So I'm going to put the make and the model. I am not purchasing these through a monthly charge. I am just paying for these one time. So I put 0 in my monthly costs, and then I enter how much these cost. So I'm putting, they were $400 each, and I bought 50 of them. Or I plan, excuse me, on buying 50 of them. That then calculates my total cost. So once I click Save, you see that my line item table has been updated. I'm going to be purchasing some more equipment from this particular service provider, so I'm going to add another line item. And I'm going to be purchasing some hotspots. So again, I'm entering my make and model. This is another purchase that I will be paying for one time. I'm not paying for it on a monthly basis. So I'm going to enter how much each of them cost. So $500 each, and I'm going to say that I need 5 of them. The system calculates the total amount for this particular set of items, and then I hit save. So this is everything that I'm buying for this from this service provider for this funding request. So I'm going to click save and continue. If I made a mistake on one of these line items, as I see my details here, if I made a mistake, I realized oh, actually, I bought 55 laptops. I can click on this little checkbox and you'll see I now have the ability to edit my line item. Hit save, you can see that the edit worked. If I completely botched it, I can just remove that line item and start again. But I'm quite happy with what I have here, so I'm going to hit save and continue. And that completes my first funding request. I'm going to go through two more, and I'm going to go through these a bit quickly. I know I'm taking a lot of time here, but I want to make sure that the mechanics of the form are well known for you. So I'll move on to my next funding request. So this time I'm going to select services. And I am going to say that I actually did have a contract. This is going to be for internet connections, for broadband connections that I'm receiving for the full 12 months of the year. So I am going to leave my dates as starting from the beginning of July through to June 30th, 2022. I'm going to, again, search for my service provider and say that I will be invoicing. And then I get a new question here because this is service-related request. So the question I'm being asked is this request related to new construction, self-provision networks, or data casting? As Molly mentioned, in the circumstance where there are no commercially available service options, you may request funding or reimbursement for these types of scenarios. However, for this particular funding request, it is not related to new construction, self-provision networks, or data casting, so I'm going to select no and continue. I have the opportunity to describe my funding request and upload supporting documentation if I would like. And then I get to my landing page, or my line item landing page, where you see I have slightly different, a slightly different looking table here. So I'm going to click add. And because I selected services, I actually get asked the type of connection rather than the type of equipment. So I'm going to ask for mobile broadband. We're also asking, is a firewall included? And I'm going to say yes, it is. And then we want to know the broadband download and upload speeds. This is very similar to what we ask on the E-rate form. And then this time, because it is internet access, I am going to say that I am getting this, I have a monthly cost. So I'm charged $20 each month for each connection. I have 10 connections, and I'm getting the full 12 months of service. So the system will calculate what that total comes to. And then there are no one-time costs associated with this funding request. So I just want to put 0 there, and I'm getting 0 quantity, and then hit save. So that's my line item that I created. Again, I can edit it or remove it if I need to, but in this case, I'm quite comfortable with what I have. I'm going to hit save and continue. Now you can see those 2 funding requests. Going to do one more just to show you in the scenario where you do not have commercially available service options. You're going to go ahead and select services. You'll select how you purchased or how you are purchasing these products and the dates of service. I'm going to leave it as 12 months there, and then click continue. Again, we'll want to know who your service provider is. If they are not in E-rate, you may enter them manually. I'm just trying to be quick, so I'm selecting a service provider I know of. Again, the applicant is submitting the reimbursement forms. And then I come to this question again about if this request is related to new construction, self-provision networks, or data casting. This time I'm going to select yes. So you'll see a little bit more information comes up around what this really means, about what the type of services and equipment you're requesting. So for anybody who accidentally selects yes, they should see this and realize, oops, no, I'm just requesting regular internet service. But for me, I know this is what I'm asking for, so I'm going to keep my selection as yes, and then I'm going to continue. We have the FRN narrative again, along with supporting documentation. And I get to my line items. So this looks very similar to the services. But when we get to the detail, we're asking for a little bit more information. So I am going to be selecting here the data casting. I am going to say that a firewall, excuse me, is included. And then I'm going to put the type of network equipment. So I'm actually getting antenna here for this funding request. And then I have a specific make and model that I am requesting. Since this particular one, this particular line item is for equipment, just going to put 0 in the download speeds and just select megabytes there. And then now I look again at my costs and whether it's monthly or a one-time. In this instance, I plan on purchasing it with a one-time charge. So I'm going to put my unit cost there. And then again, the quantity, how many am I getting? I'm getting 20 antennas. I click save and my line item saved. If I need to add more line items, I can simply click add and that screen will become available. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to leave it at the 1. Hit save and continue, and now, as I mentioned before, you can see all of the funding requests that we've created. If I make a mistake, I can select the check mark and I can edit the FRN or the funding request. If I've completely made so many mistakes, I just want to start again, I can select that checkbox and hit remove FRN, but I'm happy with what I've done, so I'm going to review my FCC Form 471. Now, depending on who is submitting this form, you may want to send it to someone else on your entity profile or a user associated with your entity. You may do that just by selecting the Send for Certification. However, I'm going to certify it. We also provide a link so that you can look at your draft or your FCC Form 471. So if I click on it, I just want to check, is everything looking right? Did I fill it out correctly? So now I can see the information. I can see each funding request. If I click on the funding request, I can see all of the details. I can see my funding request information, my service date, my line items. If I click on that line item, I then see the details of the line item. If I click back on my FRN or my funding request, I go back to my funding request detail. I can see my service provider, my invoicing method, the fact that I answered that this is a construction-related request. I can see how I answered the unmet needs. So I'm looking at everything. Everything looks good. Now, if I want to step away at this point, you know, I need to grab a coffee. There will be a pending task. I will show you what that looks like but we create a task in the ECF portal that when you log back in, you can resume your form. So I will show you that here in a few moments, but for now I'm going to continue to certification. And now it gives me the total funding commitment request in this application, along with the certifications, a few of which Molly went through earlier in her presentation. So I'm going to certify my compliance with the program. Then the last certification is if I am in compliance with SIPA. In fact, the question is, have I already certified my status of compliance with SIPA on an FCC Form 486 or a 479? So if I am an E-rate participant and I have certified my SIPA compliance for that funding year, I can select yes. And then you'll see the certify button is available for me to click. If I'm not an E-rate participant or I have yet to certify my compliance with SIPA for this funding year in E-rate, then I can select no, and the SIPA certifications appear. I am going to say that I am already compliant with SIPA, and then you see once I selected that, the certification button became available. Now I click on the certify button and I have a pop-up just to tell me, this is an electronic signature, and I'm going to click yes. I get a confirmation screen of my certification. I will also get an email confirming USAC's receipt of your certified form. I'm going to select close and bring myself back to this dashboard. Before I stop here, I just want to show you a few more things within the portal. First of all, this is the current date and time. We also have a countdown clock for the window closing. This is wrong. We do not have 77 days left in the window. As I mentioned before, this is a test environment. Next to my organizations, I can click on my applications. This is going to show me all of the applications that I have created. Some of them you'll see are incomplete. I have tested with this account quite a lot, so I have quite a few applications. I'm going to filter. I want to look at the applications that I've actually certified. So when I do that, it lists them out for me. And you can see this application nickname. This is the one that we created today. If I click on the application number, I can see my application details. So my summary, my funding request, this works in the same way I showed you previously, the unmet needs, and now I can see my certifications. So that's a new tab now that I've certified the form. The other thing I want to mention is the communications tab. So if USAC has a question for you as we review your application, you will see the questions here, and you will also receive an email notification. If you as the applicant have realized that I have a modification, I've made a mistake, there's something wrong with my application, you can click on this Contact Reviewer button. And you can make a note of your concern. And if you need to, you can upload a document as well. When I click Update, you will see it logs who sent the message, when, and what that message was. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. The dashboard is always available up here on the top left for you. The last thing I wanted to show you was my pending tasks. I'd mentioned this before. If I step away, if I have to log out of the ECF portal, which I have done many a time in my tests, you will get a pending task. So this is, to finish the creation of your application. So if I click on that task, I can then start my application again, or finish my application. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. The last thing I want to show you is the customer service portal. So you may call us, you may call our customer support center, but if you do have access to the portal, you can also go in and you can create a customer service case. So you can provide us with the title of the case, the description, the topic, your entity's information, the application, if it is relating to an application number. You can upload a document and your information will automatically be available there for you. And this brings me to the end of the demo for the application process and a little bit of the ECF portal overall. So I will hand it back. Thank you very much.
Emily, thank you very much for that very informative presentation like Molly's. At this point, we've reached the question and answer portion of the session. WCB is going to open this part of the session by addressing some of the most commonly asked questions that we've received so far. After that, we will turn to participant questions, so please go ahead and either raise your hand or put a question into the chat. We also encourage you all to visit fcc.gov/emergency-connectivity-fund, where you can find additional tools and resources, including answers to other frequently asked questions. Don't worry, I will put that address into the chat along with the main ONAP email address for questions. We will make sure that they reach the right person. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt Uvas for the next portion of this program.
Thank you, Siri. So as was just mentioned, these are some of the most common questions that we have received. So the first question we have is, are tribal libraries eligible? The answer is yes. As was mentioned earlier, tribal libraries are eligible for support from the ECF program. There are two ways that tribal libraries may demonstrate their eligibility. They can, one, provide a signed letter from a state library agency, or two, provide documentation from an authorizing tribal government entity, such as a charter or ordinance or letter from the tribal council, recognizing the entity as a library, and documentation from an authorizing entity that shows that the applicant has characteristics of a library, including regular hours, staff, and materials. The next question we have is a tribal college library eligible? The answer to that is no. A library's eligibility depends on its funding as an independent entity. Only libraries whose budgets are completely separate from any schools, including but not limited to elementary and secondary schools, colleges, and universities, are eligible. The next question is, for the initial application filing window, do the eligible equipment and services need to be purchased and received after July 1st, 2021? The answer is equipment and services can be ordered before July 1st, 2021, but they cannot be received, delivered, or paid for before July 1st of 2021. And we also want to note that there is an exception for monthly services that were prepaid prior to the adoption of the ECF order. We have more information about that in the frequently asked questions posted on our website. The next question is, who owns the equipment and services if a school requests ECF support for a student's home internet access and connected device? Schools and libraries, as the applicants, will own and pay for the equipment and services purchased with ECF support. And the last frequently asked question that we received is, how can I tell if my equipment is eligible or ineligible? Appendix B of the ECF order contains an eligible services and equipment list that provides information on what is and is not eligible for the program. We are currently in the process of making this more accessible, but for now you can find this list in the ECF order linked on the website. And with that, I'll pass it back to Siri and my other colleagues to address some of the questions that you have today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matt. Well, I see that there is a raised hand in the participant list, and I see a question in chat. So I'm going to refer this to Sue and Molly to see if they'd like to address these.
Sure. Why don't we start first with the kind woman who's had her hand up for a long time. Libby, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but if you want to take yourself off mute and share your question, we'll do our best to address it.
Hello, this is Libby Ofterheide from the Red Cliff Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. Regarding Molly's presentation on specifically using funds to build more broadband access, we are a very rural area, and it is both less expensive and more effective for us to put up cell towers. Can we use that funding for expanding LTE cellular access instead of broadband construction?
So I think the question is in part related back to, would you be piggybacking off of an existing network, or is this a new construction because there is no existing service provider? That's one of the hallmarks of whether or not special construction is permitted. And it sounds like there may or may not be a existing provider.
We have no existing providers in the area. We are slowly working to fix that by putting up the towers ourselves.
Okay. Molly and Matt might have more. Go ahead.
Sorry, Sue. I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, this goes back to the slide on what needs to be demonstrated. So if an applicant can demonstrate that there are no commercially available internet access service options, which it sounds like is true for your situation, that might not be sufficient to support remote learning, then the applicant would be able to seek support in that instance. But again, they would be required to meet some of the standards that we discussed earlier, meaning that they would have to provide clear evidence. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. It's the internet lag. That answers my question. Thank you very much.
I think this also goes to, I see Christina Garrett's questions as well. Again, it's very similar answer. If you can demonstrate that there is no service provider, which it sounds like may be true of Christina's question, they have a vendor who can deliver connection 6 cell towers. Is it eligible as third-party special construction? Again, if you can demonstrate that there are no other commercially available internet access service options that it is up to the school or library to determine are sufficient to support remote learning, then you might be able to utilize that third-party special construction option. And her next question, do cell towers paid for by ECF have to be owned by the applicant, or can they be owned and maintained by the vendor? They can be, so ECF, the applicants will pay for the services and equipment, but the vendor can own it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Molly. I'm looking to see, I don't see any more questions at the moment. I see a thank you to you, which is great. If anyone else has questions, please raise your hand or put a message into the chat function. We have a great group of people here, both from WCB and USAC, who are waiting to answer. Well, I don't want to cut off inquiries. I'm really hoping that people will engage with us this afternoon. I want to give it a minute here to see if anyone else will submit anything or raise that hand.
Sometimes it helps. I can fill in with a few of our other FAQs. Sometimes it's helpful to hear while people could think of answers. Another question we get a lot is whether applicants can lease connected devices, and the answer is yes. They can be leased. The cost of the lease equipment must be reasonable. As I mentioned, that's a standard. And USAC will carefully review those requests to ensure that the costs are reasonable compared to the $400 limit for purchasing a connected device.
I think we have another question or
So that,
two.
yeah, is there an expectation to filter internet access to homes? So that's a SIPA question. The computers must be filtered. They must meet SIPA requirements. If you are a new applicant, you will have a period of time to, you only need to certify that you are undertaking actions to become compliant. But if you are receiving ECF support for internet access or internet services, or E-rate support for, sorry, I'm going off the top of my head, E-rate support for internal connections or network equipment, then your computers must be SIPA compliant.
We have a question and an answer about how to raise a hand, and someone very kindly put an answer in there. Raising a hand, at least on desktop, there's a smiley face button at the bottom of the screen. Click that and raise hand should be an option up at the top of the menu that pops up. I couldn't have said it better myself. So otherwise, is it Carrie Wickman? Please just unmute yourself and ask your question. There you go. Can you just unmute yourself?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I'm general counsel for an Indian tribe, but we have a close working relationship with our local school district. And so can the two submit a collaborative application for assistance? But we also, I mean, we've got, or will you allow, I guess, more applications from just one entity? So our school district could put an application in, the tribe itself could put an application in, and then we also have a tribal library. And so I'm just wondering where I find all of the eligibility requirements and the criteria, if there's guidelines or, you know, it's very helpful to walk through the application process, but we need to know kind of whether or not we qualify and how we get access to the funding and the timelines related to that as well. So,
what about the equipment and the products? Availability and accessibility.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I thought I heard someone else starting to answer or starting to talk.
Well, the other concern, I guess, that we have, because we purchased some laptops during the pandemic, and how are you dealing with availability of equipment? Because right now that's still a huge barrier, I think, to building this type of infrastructure within our communities, is that we want it and we need it and the funding is there, but the equipment is not available.
Or is it?
Yeah, that is something that I think we are definitely talking about internally, how to address that in the event. We do note in certain circumstances, we do have the option to submit a waiver if you are unable to, if you believe that you need a waiver of the ECF rules. That is an option in certain circumstances, but I think it sounds like a lot of your issues, not to call them issues, but it sounds like they are fairly specific, and it might be helpful to talk offline to kind of go through some of them. Another option for a lot of eligibility questions is to call the ECF customer service center, where they can walk you through, as Emily discussed, walk you through setting up a entity profile and walking through some of those eligibility questions. And Sue, if you have
Yeah.
anything else that might be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Either reaching out to USAC, but we do allow tribal governments are not an eligible entity through the Emergency Connectivity Fund, but schools and libraries are, and you have an ability to apply as a consortium. And it sounds like that is something that you're interested in doing. So we can walk you through some of the specifics of how to do that. But I think that might be the best approach for you. And then as Molly said, we are aware that particularly in the early days of the pandemic, it was really hard to get equipment. It's an emergency program, so we, like you guys, all want to get equipment as soon as possible. But there is a waiver process, as Molly referenced, if you're not able to timely get the laptops that you're seeking.
Ms. Whitman, do you have another question, or is your hand still raised from before? She just answered me. Does anyone else have anything for our wonderful presenters? There's another question, Sue and Molly, in chat.
Yeah, so would something like a Head Start Early Childhood Center program qualify as a school for the purpose of applying for funding? Again, it goes by state. You will have to check with your state whether or not it defines elementary or secondary school, whether those qualify under their definition. So it does depend.
And there's another raised hand from Kimball Sekakwaptawa.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm not sure how to ask my question, but with respect to duplication of services across other federal programs like EBB, are there any red or warning flags or known issues with like a student being provided duplicate services in their home using this emergency connectivity fund versus EBB that we should be aware of?
I think the main thing is that you're not permitted to receive duplicative support. So if a student is already receiving support from the EBB program, then they would not be eligible for support under ECF. However, it is up to you which program you choose. That is completely up to the school or library.
So it would be difficult to know like what the student families have done correct. I know what I would do as a school, but I don't always have all the information about the family choices that are made independently. So I'm just wondering how much of a concern that is and how much documentation or due diligence I would need to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I will. So the FCC has not prescribed a specific way in which we need schools or libraries to go about determining that. Our stance is that we just require best estimates. So schools will need to provide the best estimate of the number of students who might not have access. So it is really up to you on how you go about collecting that, but we really just encourage you to make the best efforts to estimate what you will need when you apply.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And I believe there's another raised hand from Christina Garrett.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on Carrie Wickman's comments about the tribes and the schools working together. So we work with a couple of different tribal schools that are working with the tribes and putting up the LTE networks and needing to expand those. And that's one of the things we've been, I guess, confused about is when they, if they apply for these funds, number one, okay, so the schools will apply for them. And I think you answered the question that it's okay if a third party would own the equipment. I guess there would be four parties there. So we have the school involved, we have the tribe involved, and then we have a service provider involved that actually would be constructing. But the equipment, once it's constructed, will be owned by the tribe. So is that something that you guys see that working within this framework, as long as they've met the whole commercial availability issue?
I defer a bit to Molly on this, but it sounds like a pretty specific fact scenario that you're working through. I'm wondering if it makes sense to try and set up some time offline to discuss it so that we can understand the ins and outs a little bit more and
Okay.
can make some helpful guidance.
I think that's right.
I would love that.
Okay.
And as you pre-registered, we have your contact info, so we will follow up with Wireline.
Okay, thank you.
So looking to see if there are any other questions, either in chat or raised hands, and I don't see anything new coming in. The presentations were really thorough and amazing, so I'm not surprised, but here we go. I think a question just popped into the chat.
Documentations on the school end. How detailed are the documents? How detailed should the documents be, and how long do we hold the documents? So for the application purposes, there is no requirement that you submit documentation. However, for the invoicing, you will be required to submit itemized invoices. As far as document retention, there is a 10-year document retention requirement.
Okay, we're coming up close to 3:30, which means we've been at this for an hour and a half. If there are no other questions, I'm going to ask if my colleagues have anything else they'd like to add and start to wind down. But, again, I don't want to cut anyone off. So if people have last things, please either raise your hand or submit a question in chat. But I will turn it to my colleagues, both at WCB, from WCB and from USAC, to see if they have any last commentary.
I do want to just build off of my past comment really quickly. The last answer, I should mention that again, you are required to keep inventory of services and equipment, and that will also be required too. So keeping track of the devices and other equipment that you distribute and documenting that. So that is also required in the documentation. Sorry, just wanted to clarify that, and now I'm done.
I just want to say a huge thank you to our colleagues in ONAP and at USAC and to all of you guys for taking the time to participate. It is a program that I think in WCB we're all really personally invested in and would be happy to do any follow-up that would be helpful in terms of what's needed to apply I believe Sayuri posted the web or the email link that you can direct questions to, and then we'll route them to the appropriate subject matter expert. But then I also wanted to pass along the USAC help desk number that they are manning as well, and that is 1-800-234-9781. And that is available from 8 in the morning until 8 at night Eastern time on Monday through Friday. So thank you guys very much, and please feel free to reach out. There's still a good amount of time before the application window closes, and we hope you'll reach out if you have any questions and consider applying. Thank you.
So on behalf of ONAP and the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau, thank you all very, very much. Please do follow up with us and we will try to get your questions answered. And again, thank you to my colleagues from WCB and to my colleagues from USAC. Thank you all. Ben, I think we can close it out. Thank you.